Close your eyes. Imagine the sky above Olympus painted with gold and rose at dawn. The air is still, yet it hums with the breath of eternity. Marble columns rise like silent guardians, glowing with divine light. Here the gods dwell, timeless, powerful, eternal in their essence. Among them is Athena, the goddess of wisdom and clarity. She carries not thunder nor fire, but the sharp light of reason. Her gaze sees beyond shadows, into truth and hidden meaning. This is a tale of her journey, one of silence and revelation. It is not a story of battles, but of balance and awakening. At the heart of Olympus burns a flame, ancient and eternal. The flame eternal, a light that guides wisdom and harmony. But even flames, untouched by time, can waver in their glow. One morning, its brilliance falters, casting long, uneasy shadows. The gods tremble, for without its light, wisdom might fade, harmony may crumble, and even Olympus could lose its song. This story is about Athena and her quest to renew the flame. A journey not through war, but through spirit and understanding. So come closer, listener, and follow the whisper of the past. For within this tale lies a truth we still carry today. The first light of dawn brushes Olympus, turning marble into fire and sky into endless wonder. Mountains shimmer with soft mist, and valleys echo with whispers of gods unseen. Here stands the heart of divinity, a realm untouched by mortal sorrow or fleeting time. The air is heavy with power, yet light as a dream that drifts on a silent breeze. Every stone, every column, every carved step glows with immortal memory. This is Olympus, home of the gods, where eternity unfolds in shimmering patterns. And as the sun climbs higher, the halls awaken with voices ancient and bright. The river of light flows across golden roofs and marble paths of divine halls. Immortal birds rise in gentle arcs, singing songs never heard by mortal ears. 1,000 gardens bloom without end, perfumed with scents no mortal hand has sown. The mountain is alive, breathing with the harmony of creation itself. It is a place where time does not chase, but rests, flowing like still water. Here, wisdom and wonder entwine, shaping destinies of both gods and mortals. And among these halls walks Athena, radiant, calm, eternal in her clarity. She is the daughter of Zeus, yet, unlike thunder, she carries silence and vision. Her eyes are deep, reflecting not power alone, but truth hidden in all things. Athena moves with grace, her steps echoing like the soft rhythm of a hymn. Where she passes, the air stills, and thought awakens like dawn on the mind. She does not command with fire or storm, but with balance, reason, and light. Her presence is a reminder that strength lies not only in might, but in wisdom. She is the guardian of harmony, protector of justice, and seeker of truth. Each god holds a domain, yet Athena's realm is woven through them all. In the strategies of war, her mind is the guiding star. In the debates of kings, her voice is the hidden compass. In the hands of craftsmen, her knowledge shapes tools and wonders alike. Even in the silence of poets, her spirit lingers, guiding words to wisdom. Athena is more than divine. She is the breath of clarity itself. She is the mirror through which both gods and mortals may see beyond illusions. But the gods, proud and radiant, often forget the weight of wisdom. Their halls echo with laughter, with pride, with songs of power everlasting. And yet, in Athena's gaze, there is always a listening deeper than sound. She knows that Olympus stands not only by strength, but by the flame of harmony. This flame, eternal and pure, burns at the heart of Olympus, older than gods. It shines unseen, yet its warmth holds the balance of all creation. Without it, wisdom falters, and even immortality trembles in silence. As dawn completes its song, the halls grow brighter, radiant with divine splendor. Athena stands at the balcony of marble, gazing far beyond Olympus. Her sight pierces into the mortal world, where cities rise and fall like waves. She sees dreams blossoming in men and women, fragile yet filled with wonder. She sees fear and hope entwined, each heart aflame seeking its own light. And in her heart, she carries the knowledge that gods and mortals are bound. For the flame eternal burns not only for Olympus, but for every living soul. This is the beginning of her tale, a tale where wisdom must walk beyond eternity, a tale where Athena will step into the mortal realm to guard what is fading. The halls of Olympus glow bright, yet shadows stir at the edges of light. The gods rejoice, unaware of the flicker at the heart of the sacred flame. But Athena knows. She always knows. And thus, as the sun crowns Olympus, her journey quietly begins. Deep within Olympus lies a chamber unknown to mortal eyes, veiled in quiet eternity. The air inside shimmers with light, though no torch nor sun dares to enter its walls. At the very center stands a pedestal of stone, older than the gods themselves. Upon it burns the sacred fire, the flame eternal, steady and timeless in its glow. This flame is not of wood, nor oil, nor spark of any earthly kind. It is born from the breath of creation, the first light that once divided night from day. Legends say it was set aflame by the fates when the cosmos was still unformed. It has burned ever since, its glow neither dimming nor swelling with passing years. The flame does not consume, nor does it destroy. It reveals and it sustains. It is the silent guardian of wisdom, the heart of harmony that binds all realms. Every god feels its warmth, though many forget the source of its power. For while Olympus shines, the flame burns quietly, patient and eternal. Zeus, in his majesty, honors it as a symbol of law and cosmic order. Apollo sees it as kin to his sun, though purer and untouched by shadow. Artemis calls it the eternal torch of clarity, a light that guides even in silence. Yet among all the gods, Athena feels its presence most deeply of all. She knows that the flame is not just for the gods, but for every soul that seeks truth. It mirrors the choices of mortals, glowing with kindness, dimming with neglect. And though it burns eternal, its strength reflects the balance of wisdom in the world. Athena often visits the chamber, her steps hushed, her voice barely a breath. She watches the flame with reverence, knowing it is more than fire, more than light. It is the thread that weaves gods and mortals into one shared destiny. To her, the flame eternal is not only sacred, but alive, whispering truths unseen. Some gods pass by without pause, blind to its steady, humble brilliance. But Athena lingers, for she hears what others cannot, the heartbeat of eternity. She knows that if the flame falters, so too will wisdom across all realms. For what is Olympus without balance, or mortals without guidance? What is creation without the harmony that breathes through its every part? The flame answers with silence, yet its glow speaks more than words could ever tell. It flickers gently, as though aware of Athena's thoughtful gaze upon it. In that flicker, she sees not weakness, but a warning, soft and ancient. The flame, though eternal, depends on remembrance, on faith, on truth alive in hearts. It cannot be forgotten, cannot be left untended, lest its meaning fade away. Athena bows her head, her mind heavy with understanding and foresight. She knows that the gods may overlook what mortals cannot afford to lose. The chamber hums with quiet power, the flame steady yet watchful. It is a beacon to all who seek, though few dare to seek beyond themselves. As Athena departs the chamber, her thoughts linger in the fire's glow. She feels its warmth follow her, a reminder carried in her every breath. It is not a flame to worship alone, but a flame to protect, to nurture, to share. For within its glow lies the balance of worlds, the wisdom of eternity itself. And though the halls of Olympus ring with laughter and pride, the flame waits. It waits for those who will remember, those who will listen, those who will act. Athena knows its secret, and she knows its silent call will one day be heard. For when the flame trembles, wisdom must rise, or all else may fade away. The morning came with silence heavier than song, a stillness that pressed upon Olympus like a shadow. The flame eternal, once steady and bright, flickered with an unease that none had seen before. Its glow dimmed for the first time, trembling as though some unseen hand touched its heart. The chamber that once bathed in golden brilliance now lay cloaked in uncertain half-light. Even the marble walls, always alive with radiance, seemed pale, as though drained of breath. The flame bent low, a fragile whisper, no longer the pillar of strength it had always been. Athena stood before it, her eyes deep with calm, yet touched by a quiet concern. For she knew the flame could not falter without reason, nor waver without cause. This was no accident, no passing trick of light, but a sign woven into the fabric of eternity. Beyond the chamber, Olympus itself seemed to shift with unease at the flame's trembling glow. Gods who had never looked upon the fire now felt its weakness echo in their hearts. Their laughter softened, their songs stilled, replaced by whispers carried through marble halls. Even the winds slowed, as if the mountain itself leaned in to listen to the silence. The eternal gardens held their blossoms still, petals closed in reverent waiting. It was as though all creation paused, balanced upon the edge of the flame's wavering light. Athena alone did not tremble, for she had long listened to the truth beneath the glow. She saw that the fire, though eternal, was not untouchable, not immune to neglect. The flame eternal, she realized, did not fade by force, but by forgetfulness. It weakened when gods forgot wisdom, when mortals forgot balance and kindness. Every selfish act, every blind ambition, pulled at the threads that fed its light. Every forgotten truth left the flame hungrier, yearning for remembrance. Athena touched her hand to the air above it, feeling warmth, faint but alive. The flame flickered in response, as though recognizing her presence, her listening heart. And in that gentle flicker, Athena understood what others could not yet see. The eternal flame was not dying, but it was calling, softly, urgently, patiently. It called for wisdom to be remembered, for truth to be honored, for harmony restored. If ignored, its light would not vanish, but its meaning would slip into shadow. And a flame without meaning is as lost as a world without stars to guide it. Athena turned from the chamber, her steps slow, her mind alive with resolve. The gods would soon gather, their questions loud, their fears hidden behind pride. They would demand answers, seek blame, offer power as remedy to a deeper wound. But Athena knew this fading light was not a matter of force or thunder. It was not a battle to be fought with weapons, nor a fire to feed with oil. It was a flame that asked for remembrance, for the quiet courage of compassion. It was a flame bound to the hearts of mortals, reflecting their choices, their lives. And so its weakness was not failure, but a mirror showing truth long ignored. Athena wise beyond her years, carried this knowledge as dawn stretched higher. Her heart remained steady, yet her spirit knew a storm of questions would soon rise. The flame eternal had spoken in silence, and Athena had heard its call. What others would see as danger, she understood as a path toward renewal. But the path would not be simple, nor welcomed by all who sat in Olympus. For to restore the flame, she would need more than divine will. She would need the voices of mortals, the strength of their forgotten truths. And thus, as the flame bent low but did not break, Athena prepared for what lay ahead. For the first time in eternity, the flame eternal trembled, and Olympus held its breath. The halls of Olympus filled with unease, their golden glow dimmed by whispers of doubt. The gods, radiant and eternal, gathered in the grand chamber of council. Columns rose like mountains of marble, echoing with the weight of timeless judgment. At the center, a great table gleamed with divine fire, unshaken by mortal hands. Yet today, its shine seemed pale beside the fading light of the eternal flame. Zeus, ruler of the heavens, stood tall, thunder in his gaze, though his voice was grave. "The flame falters," he declared, "and Olympus itself feels its tremble." Gods shifted uneasily, for few had ever seen their father speak with such concern. Apollo, golden and fierce, leaned forward, his eyes sharp as arrows of the sun. "Perhaps it is stolen," he said. "Some hidden thief seeks to undo our power." A murmur rose, suspicion weaving like a shadow through the immortal assembly. Ares clenched his fists, fire in his voice, as he called for battle and vengeance. But Hera raised her hand, calm yet stern, silencing the storm before it grew. "No war will restore a flame," she said, "nor can force mend what is fading." The gods turned their eyes to Athena, whose silence carried more weight than words. She had stood quiet, her gaze steady, her thoughts deeper than the sea itself. When she spoke, her voice was calm, yet it carried the strength of truth. "The flame is not weakened by theft, nor struck by enemy hands," she said. "It falters because wisdom is forgotten and harmony is left untended." Her words fell into the chamber like stones dropped into still water. Some gods frowned, unwilling to hear of their own neglect or pride. Others shifted uncomfortably, as though her truth struck too close to their hearts. Dionysus laughed softly, trying to ease the weight, but even his song could not lift it. For all knew Athena's words carried the clarity of a mirror they could not deny. The flame did not answer to power, nor to pride, nor to endless joy. It answered to remembrance, to kindness, to the balance that shaped all life. Yet balance was not what Olympus had embraced in its halls of endless triumph. They had celebrated victories, sung praises of power, but forgotten the stillness of wisdom. Zeus lifted his hand, silencing the council once more, his brow heavy with thought. "If Athena speaks truth, then the burden is greater than we imagined," he said. "For no enemy may be fought, no storm may be conquered to save this flame." Silence spread again, deeper now, like a river carrying the weight of eternity. It was Athena who broke it, her voice as steady as the flame itself. "Then let us not seek answers in force, but in remembrance," she said. "Let us look not only to Olympus, but to the world beyond our gates." Her gaze turned toward the mortal realm, vast and fragile beneath the heavens. For the flame mirrors their choices, their dreams, their forgotten truths. If mortals live in balance, the flame will burn with them, bright and eternal. The council shifted again, unease mixing with reluctant understanding. For gods were proud, and to admit dependence on mortals felt like surrender. But Athena did not waver, her eyes shining with light older than the sun. "The flame does not belong to us alone," she said, "but to all who seek truth." Her words settled in the chamber, firm as marble, gentle as dawn. The gods said no more, but their silence was not of dismissal. It was the silence of recognition, of truth too heavy to deny. And so the council ended, the gods departing with unspoken thoughts in their hearts. But Athena remained still, gazing toward the fading flame, her resolve unbroken. For she knew what must be done, though others had yet to see. The council had gathered, but the true journey was only beginning, and the weight of the flame now rested in the quiet strength of wisdom. Athena descended from Olympus with quiet resolve, her steps echoing against the marble paths of heaven. The wind carried whispers of the gods behind her, but she paid them no mind. Her gaze was fixed on the horizon, where the mortal world stretched vast and alive. She knew the answers would not be found within Olympus, but within the hearts below. The flame eternal was bound not only to gods, but to mortals who walked under its light. If they strayed from balance, the flame would waver, dimming with every forgotten truth. Athena's heart was steady, though her journey was one no other god dared to take. She crossed the boundary between immortal and mortal, where the sky bent into earth. Her golden sandals touched the soil, and the air was filled with scents of grain and pine. The mortal realm greeted her not with thunder, but with the quiet breath of life. She walked among fields where farmers bent their backs to the rhythm of the seasons. She saw laughter around fires and sorrow carved in faces worn by labor. Here was a truth Olympus rarely saw, the fragile strength of mortal days. But as she looked deeper, she saw shadows hidden beneath their toil and joy. Villages quarreled, greed dividing neighbor from neighbor, love forgotten in envy's grip. Some hearts had grown cold, their voices filled with anger, louder than kindness. Balance was slipping, and in its fall, the flame eternal had dimmed. Athena did not frown, for she'd expected no less from fragile human hearts. Instead, she listened. She listened to their songs, their prayers, their silence. One night, she sat by a river, the moonlight painting silver on the waves. There, an old woman came, her steps slow, her hands carrying a basket of bread. She did not see Athena as divine, but only as a traveler, resting by the water. "Would you share bread?" the woman asked kindly, her voice warm despite her years. Athena accepted, breaking bread with mortal hands, feeling the truth of her heart. The woman spoke of hardship, of children lost, of neighbors who no longer spoke kindly. Yet her eyes still held light, a flame unbroken by sorrow. "Balance," the woman whispered, "is not found in power, but in remembering to care." Athena listened, and her wisdom deepened like roots beneath ancient trees. For here was the truth she had known, but not yet seen so clearly. The flame did not fade because mortals were weak, but because they forgot to remember, forgot to honor kindness, to cherish harmony, to live with truth in their days. Athena rose from the riverbank with new purpose, her path clear before her. She would seek the fragments of wisdom still burning in mortal hearts. For in their stories, their struggles, their quiet acts of love, the flame could be renewed. She walked on, through villages and valleys, her presence unseen, but felt in spirit. Children smiled brighter, old friends reconciled, laughter rose where silence had ruled. She left no mark of divinity, but the touch of balance stirred where she passed. The journey was long, and still much shadow lingered across the land. Yet Athena did not falter, for she had found the spark she sought. It was not in temples nor in offerings, but in the simple truth of care. The flame eternal would rise again if both gods and mortals remembered this. Athena turned her gaze back toward Olympus, the path of return now before her. Her heart carried not only wisdom, but the voices of mortals she had walked beside. And in her quiet steps, the first glow of renewal shimmered, unseen yet certain. Athena returned to Olympus, her steps carrying the quiet wisdom of the mortal world. The marble gates opened before her, gleaming yet dimmed by the shadow of the failing flame. The gods awaited her in silence, their eyes searching for answers she alone might hold. She walked past them without haste, her presence calm, her resolve unshaken. At the heart of Olympus, the eternal flame flickered, trembling like a breath about to fade. Its glow still lingered, but the brilliance was thin, stretched like dawn before morning. Athena stood before it, her gaze steady, her heart holding the voices of mortals. Zeus spoke first, his voice low yet thunderous in the chamber of gods. "Tell us, daughter, what truth have you found in the realm below?" The council leaned closer, their immortal ears eager yet wary of her words. Athena raised her voice, clear and strong, echoing against the marble walls. "The flame does not falter from theft, nor from the weakness of time," she said. "It fades because mortals forget balance, and we gods forget to guide them wisely." Her words carried weight, drawing frowns from Ares, whispers from Hermes, silence from Hera. Apollo's golden gaze narrowed, his pride resisting the mirror of truth. "Are you saying Olympus depends on mortals?" he asked, his tone sharp. Athena met his gaze without fear, her voice unshaken. "I say Olympus reflects them as they reflect us. Without balance, neither flame nor heaven endures." Her truth struck deep, unsettling the gods who thrived on power and worship. Yet some nodded slowly, their hearts stirred by the clarity of her vision. Demeter spoke softly, her hands folded as though cradling seeds unseen. "I have felt their struggles, their hunger, their loss. Balance is indeed fragile." Hestia, guardian of hearth and flame, turned her gaze to the flickering light. Her voice was gentle, yet it carried the strength of eternity. "The flame answers not to pride nor power. It answers to care, to truth, to harmony." Her words echoed Athena's, weaving a thread of agreement through the chamber. Zeus frowned, but his eyes softened, for he too felt the weight of her wisdom. "What then must be done?" he asked, his voice less commanding now, more searching. Athena stepped closer to the flame, her reflection trembling within its glow. "We must remember," she said, "and help mortals remember. The flame cannot rise on its own. Acts of kindness, balance, and truth must be rekindled in both realms. Only then will the flame shine as it once did, eternal and unwavering." Her words settled like seeds in fertile soil, waiting to take root. For a moment, silence reigned, as though Olympus itself was listening. Then Hestia approached, her hands lifting toward the fragile flame. She whispered words older than Olympus, prayers woven of warmth and care. The flame flickered, answering faintly as though recognizing the call of harmony. The gods watched, their pride bending into quiet recognition. Even Ares lowered his fists, though his spirit raged for action. The truth was undeniable. The flame's strength was bound to balance. Athena placed her hand near the light, not to claim it, but to honor it. She spoke not in command, but in remembrance, her voice steady and clear. "Let this flame remind us of what we are meant to guard. Not only Olympus, but the bond between gods and mortals. between wisdom and care. The flame pulsed faintly, as if stirred by her vow. Yet it did not fully rise. Athena stepped back, her eyes calm though the task was far from complete. "It will not be restored in a single breath," she said. "It will rise as mortals rise, as balance is found again in their hearts." Zeus nodded slowly, his pride bending to wisdom, his thunder silenced by truth. "Then so it shall be," he declared, his voice echoing across Olympus. But deep within, Athena knew the journey was far from over. The flame had listened, but it waited still, its full glow yet to return. And so her path stretched onward, a quest not of conquest, but of remembrance. For wisdom's journey was never swift, and the eternal flame demanded more. Athena turned once more to the horizon, her spirit ready to walk the path ahead. Athena returned to Olympus, her steps carrying the quiet wisdom of the mortal world. The marble gates opened before her, gleaming yet dimmed by the shadow of the failing flame. The gods awaited her in silence, their eyes searching for answers she alone might hold. She walked past them without haste, her presence calm, her resolve unshaken. At the heart of Olympus, the eternal flame flickered, trembling like a breath about to fade. Its glow still lingered, but the brilliance was thin, stretched like dawn before morning. Athena stood before it, her gaze steady, her heart holding the voices of mortal. Zeus spoke first, his voice low yet thunderous in the chamber of gods. "Tell us, daughter, what truth have you found in the realm below?" The council leaned closer, their immortal ears eager yet wary of her words. Athena raised her voice, clear and strong, echoing against the marble walls. "The flame does not falter from theft, nor from the weakness of time," she said. "It fades because mortals forget balance, and we gods forget to guide them wisely." Her words carried weight, drawing frowns from Ares, whispers from Hermes, silence from Hera. Apollo's golden gaze narrowed, his pride resisting the mirror of truth. "Are you saying Olympus depends on mortals?" he asked, his tone sharp. Athena met his gaze without fear, her voice unshaken. "I say Olympus reflects them as they reflect us. Without balance, neither flame nor heaven endures." Her truth struck deep, unsettling the gods who thrived on power and worship. Yet some nodded slowly, their hearts stirred by the clarity of her vision. Demeter spoke softly, her hands folded as though cradling seeds unseen. "I have felt their struggles, their hunger, their loss. Balance is indeed fragile." Hestia, guardian of hearth and flame, turned her gaze to the flickering light. Her voice was gentle, yet it carried the strength of eternity. "The flame answers not to pride nor power. It answers to care, to truth, to harmony." Her words echoed Athena's, weaving a thread of agreement through the chamber. Zeus frowned, but his eyes softened, for he too felt the weight of her wisdom. "What then must be done?" he asked, his voice less commanding now, more searching. Athena stepped closer to the flame, her reflection trembling within its glow. "We must remember," she said, "and help mortals remember. The flame cannot rise on its own. Acts of kindness, balance, and truth must be rekindled in both realms. Only then will the flame shine as it once did, eternal and unwavering." Her words settled like seeds in fertile soil, waiting to take root. For a moment, silence reigned, as though Olympus itself was listening. Then Hestia approached, her hands lifting toward the fragile flame. She whispered words older than Olympus, prayers woven of warmth and care. The flame flickered, answering faintly, as though recognizing the call of harmony. The gods watched, their pride bending into quiet recognition. Even Ares lowered his fists, though his spirit raged for action. The truth was undeniable. The flame's strength was bound to balance. Athena placed her hand near the light, not to claim it, but to honor it. She spoke not in command, but in remembrance, her voice steady and clear. Let this flame remind us of what we are meant to guard. Not only Olympus, but the bond between gods and mortals, between wisdom and care. The flame pulsed faintly, as if stirred by her vow, yet it did not fully rise. Athena stepped back, her eyes calm though the task was far from complete. It will not be restored in a single breath, she said. It will rise as mortals rise, as balance is found again in their hearts. Zeus nodded slowly, his pride bending to wisdom, his thunder silenced by truth. Then so it shall be, he declared, his voice echoing across Olympus. But deep within, Athena knew the journey was far from over. The flame had listened, but it waited still, its full glow yet to return. And so her path stretched onward, a quest not of conquest, but of remembrance. For wisdom's journey was never swift, and the eternal flame demanded more. Athena turned once more to the horizon, her spirit ready to walk the path ahead. Night fell across Olympus, its marble halls bathed in silver light beneath the endless stars. The eternal flame still flickered weakly, its glow casting long shadows in the chamber of gods. Athena stood alone before it, her thoughts weaving through silence like threads of unseen light. The council had ended, but no clear path had yet been chosen by the immortals. Some gods doubted her vision, others feared the weight of mortal dependence. But Athena's resolve did not falter, for she had walked the mortal paths and seen their truth. She knew the flame could only rise again when wisdom and care lived within both realms. Still, questions lingered like mist over mountains, veiling the way forward. How could the gods guide mortals without ruling them with pride? How could mortals remember harmony in a world full of hunger, envy, and desire? Athena closed her eyes, listening not to the noise of Olympus, but to the echoes of the earth. She heard laughter by rivers, sorrow in fields, hope whispered in prayers at twilight. The voices of mortals, fragile yet enduring, carried lessons no god could ignore. Suddenly, the sound of footsteps echoed softly in the chamber of flame. Hestia entered, her presence warm, her gaze tender as she looked at Athena. "You carry the weight of wisdom alone," she said, her voice calm as a hearth. Athena turned, her eyes steady, though shadows lingered in her thoughts. "I carry what must be carried," she answered, "for the flame cannot wait." Hestia stepped, closer, her hands glowing faintly with the warmth of eternal fire. "The flame is patient, but Olympus is not," she said gently. "Many of our kin hunger for power, not balance. They will not easily follow." Athena nodded, for she too had felt the pride woven deep within Olympus. "They will resist," she admitted, "but wisdom does not bend to pride. Truth is not softened because it is unwelcome. It waits until it is seen." Hestia smiled faintly, her eyes reflecting the trembling glow of the flame. "Then perhaps we are not as alone as you think," she said softly. She placed her hand near the eternal flame, whispering a vow older than temples. The fire stirred, a faint shimmer running through its fading glow. Athena watched, her heart steady, though the path ahead remained uncertain. Two voices now carried the truth, no longer one standing against many. Outside the chamber, Apollo lingered, his golden eyes shadowed with thought. He had doubted Athena's words, yet the flicker of the flame stirred his pride. Could wisdom truly be stronger than light? Stronger than song? Stronger than war? He said nothing, but his silence carried a seed of quiet reflection. In the mortal world below, a child looked to the night sky with wide eyes. He whispered a wish for peace, small yet bright, carried upward like a prayer. The flame shimmered faintly in answer, its glow warming for but a breath. Athena felt it, her gaze lifting toward the stars with newfound certainty. Every act of care, no matter how small, was fuel for the eternal flame. Her path was clear now, not to carry the flame alone, but to awaken remembrance, to stir both gods and mortals into harmony, each voice a spark to the eternal fire. She turned to Hestia, her voice calm yet resolute as the dawn. Then we begin, not with war nor decree, but with remembrance, she said. Hestia nodded, her warmth a steady echo of agreement. And so, in the quiet of night, a covenant was formed between wisdom and hearth. Two goddesses standing together, their vows stronger than the pride of Olympus. The eternal flame trembled, no longer fading, but waiting. Waiting for the chorus of balance to rise, from gods and mortals alike. And Athena, with her steady gaze, knew this was only the beginning. Dawn spread across Olympus, its golden rays washing over the marble halls like whispers of renewal. The eternal flame flickered softly, no longer fading, yet not yet strong enough to shine with its full power. Athena stood before it, her hands folded, her thoughts carrying the weight of yesterday and the promise of tomorrow. Hestia lingered at her side, her warmth steady, her gaze filled with calm certainty. The silence between them was not emptiness, but preparation, like the hush before a song begins. Soon the other gods would return to debate, to challenge, and perhaps to resist. Athena knew that their pride was not her enemy, but their blindness was her obstacle. She would need patience as unshaken as stone and clarity as sharp as light. Her mind turned toward mortals once more, for she had felt their prayers like threads of fire. In villages and cities, in temples and fields, voices rose with hope and fear. Not all mortals remembered harmony, yet even in struggle, sparks of care endured. Those sparks could feed the eternal flame, if only both worlds chose to tend them. As her thoughts deepened, the chamber doors opened with a sweep of bright sound. Apollo entered, his golden form radiant, his lyre slung across his shoulder. His eyes were serious, his voice carrying the warmth of sunlight mixed with storm. "I saw the flame stir last night," he said, his words direct yet uncertain. "It trembled when the mortals prayed, and I felt it answer their hope." Athena met his gaze, her own steady, her words clear as flowing water. "The flame breathes with them, Apollo. It is not ours alone, nor theirs alone." Apollo frowned, his pride stirring like a shadow behind his eyes. "Then what place remains for us, if mortals hold such power?" Athena's voice softened, yet carried the weight of wisdom. "Our place is to guide, not to rule. To teach, not to chain. To remind, not to command." Apollo lowered his gaze, his fingers brushing the strings of his lyre without sound. The music within him stirred, uncertain, but longing to emerge. He looked again at the flame, its glow faintly pulsing as if they're listening. "Perhaps there is song in this truth," he said quietly. Hestia stepped forward, her smile gentle, her voice warm as a hearth. "The flame needs many voices. One alone cannot sustain it. Harmony is its breath." Apollo nodded slowly, the doubt in his face softening to thought. He would not say more. Yet his silence was not dismissal, but reflection. Athena turned back to the flame, her heart steadied by the joining of voices. Two had become three, and the path no longer seemed so lonely. Yet beyond Olympus, shadows stirred, Mortal struggles, forgotten promises, the endless dance of desire. The flame did not burn brighter yet, but its waiting seemed lighter, less burdened. For each moment of care, each prayer, each spark of wisdom was shaping its return. Athena knew the time would come when all Olympus must choose. Would they cling to pride? Or would they remember the harmony that once bound them? She lifted her gaze to the horizon, where the mortal world stretched beneath rising sun. Her voice, though soft, carried through the chamber like a vow. Then let us begin with remembrance, not in words alone, but in acts of care. The flame shimmered faintly, as though answering her vow with a promise of its own. And in the stillness of dawn, Olympus held its breath, awaiting the chorus to come. The day deepened, and the halls of Olympus filled again with the murmur of gathering gods. Each deity arrived with their symbols, their pride, and their own visions for the fading flame. Zeus sat upon his throne, his presence heavy as storm clouds, his eyes fixed on the trembling fire. Around him gathered Hera, Apollo, Hermes, Demeter, and others, each carrying both doubt and desire. The eternal flame flickered weakly, its light a reminder of what was at stake. Athena stepped forward, her gaze calm, her voice carrying into the chamber with measured strength. My kin, the flame wanes not because mortals fail, but because we have forgotten balance. Her words lingered, weaving through the room like threads seeking to bind what was fraying. Hera raised her chin, her voice sharp as silver. You would have us bow to mortals, Athena? Shall the eternal kneel before the fleeting? Athena shook her head gently, her tone firm, but never harsh. No, not bow, not kneel. To walk beside them, as memory beside hope. Murmurs spread like ripples through the chamber, some voices soft, some edged with doubt. Hermes leaned forward, his eyes quick with curiosity, his voice carrying playful skepticism. And what gift do we receive for such humility? Mortals forget as quickly as they breathe. Athena answered with clarity, her words cutting through his jest with quiet truth. They forget, yes, but they also remember. Each act of care, each spark of wisdom feeds this flame. Apollo, who had once doubted, now stepped closer, his lyre glinting with sunlight. I saw the flame stir when mortals prayed. Their voices reached higher than pride. Hestia added softly, her presence warm as a hearth's glow. The flame is not ours to own, but ours to tend, as it always has been. Demeter nodded, her thoughts lingering on fields, on harvests, on mortals who honored the soil. Yet Zeus remained silent, his eyes heavy as thunder, his will unspoken but pressing on the room. Finally he spoke, his voice deep, echoing with the weight of storms. And if mortals falter, if they betray this balance you so prize, Athena? Athena lifted her chin, her voice steady, her truth unwavering. Then we remind them, not through force, but through remembrance. For wisdom endures beyond failure. The chamber hushed, her words resonating like a chime struck in still air. The flame flickered faintly, as though listening, as though waiting for choice to be made. Some gods exchanged glances, uncertainty still veiling their thoughts, but seeds had been planted. The path of pride had ruled long, yet cracks now showed where light of truth could enter. Athena stepped back, her task not finished, yet her heart unyielding. She had offered not command, but vision, not decree, but remembrance. Now it was for Olympus to see if it could rise above itself. Beyond the marble halls, the mortal world stirred, children laughing, farmers sowing, prayers whispered. Each act, however small, sent sparks toward the flame, weaving hope into its embers. Athena felt those threads, faint but real, stitching gods and mortals together once more. The eternal flame glowed faintly brighter, no longer just a fading ember, but a waiting promise. And in that fragile light, a new beginning trembled on the edge of dawn. The chamber of Olympus lay quiet, the eternal flame glowing with a steadiness not seen in many moons. Its light was no longer a flicker of fear, but a soft promise, fragile yet undeniable. Athena stood tall, her gaze lifted toward the fire that had guided gods and mortals alike. Around her, the gods lingered, each carrying the echo of her words, though none yet spoke. The silence was heavy, not with anger, but with thought, as if Olympus itself held its breath. Zeus remained upon his throne, his storm-dark eyes reflecting the glow of the flame. For long moments he said nothing, and the weight of his silence pressed across the chamber. Then his voice rose, deep as thunder yet slow, as if shaped by reflection. "The flame burns still," he said, "not by command, but by remembrance." His words rolled like distant storm clouds, steady and unexpected. Athena inclined her head, her eyes never leaving his, her truth unwavering. "It will endure," she said, "when pride yields to wisdom and power bends to care." Hera's gaze softened, her sharpness tempered by thought she could not deny. Hermes tilted his head, curiosity replacing jest, his quick mind turning toward new paths. Apollo's lyre hummed with unspoken song, his silence no longer doubt but quiet agreement. Demeter breathed deeply, her thoughts on fields and harvests, on mortal hands tending the soil. Hestia's warmth steadied the room, her glow carrying harmony where once discord had lingered. The flame pulsed faintly, as though listening, as though answering the chorus of unspoken vows. It was no sudden blaze, no triumphant firestorm, but a patient and growing light, a reminder that harmony is not seized, but tended like a garden across seasons. Athena's voice rose once more, calm as stone, clear as a river. "Mortals will falter, as will we, yet remembrance will guide us back each time." Her words touched not only gods, but the earth below, where mortals lived their fleeting days. In villages, prayers were whispered with gratitude. In fields, care was given to the soil. Children laughed by streams, elders told stories by firelight, and hope stirred in hidden places. Each act, small yet real, reached upward, weaving threads of strength into the eternal flame. And with each spark, its glow steadied, no longer fading but growing with patient certainty. Olympus, for all its pride, had listened, and the seed of change had taken root. Zeus leaned back, his thunderous presence softened by thought, no decree spoken, but no command against. The choice was not forced, but opened. The path of harmony left waiting for each to walk. Athena felt the shift, subtle yet vast, like dawn breaking quietly after endless night. The eternal flame was not yet whole, but it was no longer dying. It lived, carried by gods and mortals alike, each bound in a covenant of remembrance. Athena's heart, steady as ever, knew the journey was not ended, but only begun. For harmony is not a crown, but a task, not a gift, but a vow renewed each day. She looked once more into the fire, her reflection mingling with its glow, and in its light, she saw not only herself, but all who would walk this path. The gods of Olympus, the mortals below, the voices of care, fragile yet enduring. Together they were the breath of the flame, the guardians of its eternal promise. The chamber hushed, the silence no longer heavy, but filled with quiet strength. The eternal flame burned on, steady as dawn, waiting for each spark to keep it alive. And Athena, goddess of wisdom, smiled faintly, her vow carried in the light eternal.